I get to choose what I do with my time. I think money is looked at sometimes the wrong way. They looked at it for material possessions, and I look at them as freedom bullets.
What I found really interesting about what you did, Philip, was because when you tell me that, I'm like, okay, I need to find a list of anyone over age 65, right, and start hitting that list as hard as I can, right? Try to find that, go direct to that seller. What was the mind shift there, and where you decided to go? Well, let's look at the person, the gatekeeper, the person who works with mom and dad. How did you come across that?
Yeah, great question. And so, guys, if you do direct mail, see if this sounds familiar. Um, you buy a list that's over the age of 65, that has equity, and has lived there at least 20 years. Why would somebody mail to that list? And everyone mails to that list. Why would we do it? It's what Ryan just said. It seems like I would just buy that list and start mailing. The problem is that that's a spray and pray method. You turn it on and you keep mailing. Hopefully one day in the next 20 years, they don't think of you because you've kept mailing them. So what I said is, hold on, that seems wasteful. What is the flashpoint or the moment when they need to sell, when they've raised their hand and said, hey, it's time to sell now? And what I've noticed is marketing to the senior. Well, a lot of times I don't deal with the senior. It's almost always the adult children of the senior. And guess what, guys? They live sometimes 400 miles away from their parent. So do you think you have enough budget to go out and direct mail to every daughter Judy in your whole city on the hopes, their parent might not even live in the town that you live in? It's very fragmented and all over the place, but that is the opportunity. These stakeholders in senior living are working with the adult children and the seniors. They've raised their hand and said, now is the time. It's the flashpoint of when they need to sell. I've taken spray and pray and put it all the way down to now's the time. And for me, I feel like I've always been a fact finder in my life. It's like, why would I waste time with all this other thing when that's the exact moment they need to sell? And so, Ryan, thank you for that prompt, because it was the moment I was like, well, this is so obvious. This is what I need to do. And I feel like if we go to the slide here, when we talk about get it to your someday list, I don't have time to do crappy marketing anymore. I feel bad for everyone that still has those old ways, because I remember trying to convince people that it was time to sell their house, or they'd say things like, I'll sell my house for the right price. Like, it was always an uphill battle. And I haven't had that for so long, because the people say, Phil, when can you come out? When can you make us an offer? They want to work with me. And that's that fulfillment side, when I see the weight come off of their shoulders, when they don't have to do the rehab or the clean out to unlock that equity, to be treated fairly, right? And so when you think about getting to your someday list, months turn into years. And maybe you're listening right now saying, I've been wanting to get into real estate. I just, nothing ever hit me the right way. A lot of people talk about Mom's House as this movement, that this just hit me the right way, that this is something I wanted to devote myself to. And I'm hoping you're feeling that way, because that's the right attitude we want, is because to build these relationships, you have to come from a loving, an empathetic way, not such a transactional real estate investor. And guys, let me be clear. I'm a very transactional real estate investor, meaning I love money just as much as the next person, and I love deals. I'm a deal junkie, but I had to be this other thing, this senior transition specialist, to be able to build the relationships in senior living. And so we have these good intentions, and maybe you've done these old methods, direct mail, pay-per-click, man-to-sign. You've been doing them for years, and it's just not getting you the results. And so sometimes we have these good intentions to change, but we don't. And then all of a sudden we look up, and this is the boxes. How many boxes we have left? The red star there, guys, was when I'm going to die. The average adult male lives to 78 years old in the United States. And so if you knew how many months or years you had left, would you make different decisions in your life? And I'm going to tell you right now, every rich person that's ever been on their deathbed, they would trade all that money for more time, right? And so do we have a sense of urgency in what we're doing with our lives? If you say, I'll get around to that someday, or if I'll be happy someday, that is a recipe for disaster, because the senior living world has taught me very clearly that the golden years will probably not be so golden. And so you need to get to it now, guys. Right now is the time. What I don't want is a couple years you look back and you said, I was on that thing with Philip and Ryan that day, and they told me all about this, and I didn't do anything about it. I don't want that to happen at all, because there's tons and tons, millions of daughter Judys and seniors that need our help. And so care has to be your mindset. If not, this will not work very well. You have to lead with the heart. You can't be transactional. Ryan touched on it earlier. The American dream is to help a lot and to make a lot. And that's the life that I have. I live the American dream. I have a phenomenal life with my wife and children tonight. My 8-year-old has a baseball game. I get to go to all of their games. I have an 8 and a 9-year-old right now. He's almost 10, but I get to go to all their baseball games, and I get to choose what I do with my time. I think money is looked at sometimes the wrong way. They looked at it for material possessions, and I look at them as freedom bullets. That's what my money is for. So I get to pick and choose what I want to do with this life.